Hello and welcome to New York Shakespeare Live. We are back here in October 2022. We had a bit of a lull in September, but we are back here. We had our big contest last month, and I thank you all, the many of you who have participated in our book giveaway contest for Ken Ludwig's How to Teach Your Children Shakespeare. And our big winner for that contest was Lisa Wolpe, a Shakespearean in New York and LA. I'm sure you know her. So she's our
She's
big winner.
great.
She'll be receiving a signed copy of Ken Ludwig's book, and that'll be sent out very shortly. And again, I thank you all for participating. For those who are joining New York Shakespeare for the very first time, my name is Rodney Hakim, and I'm the voice behind the New York Shakespeare social media feeds. And our goal is to bring you as much as we can as is happening in the world of Shakespeare in New York, whether that is stage performances, film screenings, book readings, book giveaways, whatever it might be, whatever pertains to Shakespeare that's happening in New York, we try to bring as much of that content to you across social media on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and elsewhere. Whereas anywhere that's social media, there's a New York Shakespeare presence, and we try to bring you that content in as many different forms and in many different ways as possible. Tonight, we have a roundup of what is happening theatrically this month in October 22. And I'd have to say this is going to be the busiest month of Shakespeare in New York that I can remember, as long as I've been part of the scene, and I've been part of the scene for quite a long time. We have so many performances happening in all the different parts of the city. It's really joyous to see so much Shakespeare happening in the post-COVID era, depending on how you define that. And we have three fantastic participants joining us here tonight to tell us about their companies and their shows. We have Claire Tyers from the Stag and Lion Theater Company. They are doing King Lear.
Yes.
We have Ian Gould from the Gallery Players in Brooklyn. They are doing the Comedy of Errors.
Thanks. Good to be here.
And Linnea Benson from the Frog and Peach Theater Company. They are presenting As You Like It.
Thank you for having me, Rodney.
Thank you, Linnea. Thank you all for joining me. We had a little bit of a technical snafu getting this show on the road, but we are happy to be recording and on the road, and we'll be presenting this across social media, Instagram, Facebook, and beyond. Again, check us out, New York Shakespeare, on any one of those platforms, and you can find tons and tons of our past content, dozens and dozens and dozens of past interviews, discussion panel shows, classes, various programs, all available, all for free, and that's all on Instagram, on YouTube, and elsewhere. In addition to our blogs, everything else, the reviews, everything else that we do across social media. But let's hone in on what's happening here tonight with our three fabulous guests, and they're going to tell us what is happening in different sectors of New York as it pertains to their Shakespeare performances. We'll switch over to our first guest of the evening, or our first of our three panelists for this program, and that is Claire Tyers from the Stag and Lion Theater Company, and they're on the Upper West Side. They are doing King Lear. Hello again, Claire.
Hi. Again, great to be here. Hello.
All right. So Claire, in recent months, we spoke with a couple of your colleagues. We spoke with Chelsea Sage, and prior to that, we spoke with Joshua Kane. And you guys, I think you guys are like a repertory company where you have more or less the same core actors that are doing the shows back to back. And how many shows a year do you guys do?
They try to do one every 2 months or so. So maybe one every 2 or 3 months. And now that's changed a bit since, the 2 years that we kind of had were dark, but or about a year and a half or so. But yeah, no, Stag and Lion, Josh, the artistic director and owner. I mean,
he's the manager, director.
Yes, the dreamer, the one who built this awesome theater up. He tries to make sure that there's a show happening every month. So it's, that said, it might feel like it's 1 month we don't have one, but there's one in rehearsal, so it feels like we do. So like every 2 months or 3 months there's a show in there.
Okay. And is there something coming up after King Lear, or is this the last one for 2022?
Yes, no, there is. It's called I actually don't remember the name of the next show. Alice. Oh, I have to look it up. I'm so absorbed with King Lear right now. Okay. And they are beginning to work on a new show. There's just started rehearsals last night. Okay, wow. It's a Lewis Carroll. It's a new playwright. And he wrote a play inspired by Lewis Carroll and Alice in Wonderland. Okay. So it's going to be pretty it sounds pretty intriguing, and it should be up on our website pretty soon with more details. But I'm not involved in that one, so
No,
but I'm pretty excited about it.
let's jump into King Lear. So
Yeah.
you are the director of King Lear,
Yes,
correct?
I am.
And you
Yeah.
are also Cordelia, right?
No, oh my God. No, I'm not actually. But I do, and maybe in the photo look a little bit like her, but no, I'm not. I'm
Okay.
just directing. Josh wants, when your first time director doesn't also do a
Primary
play a
role.
part. Because
Mhm.
because he usually Josh directs Shakespeare plays at the theater.
Mhm.
That's what it's been for the past 10 years that he's been doing this. The theater space, that said, is about only 5 years old, really. So it's fairly new. We've been doing shows in a garden on West 89th Street. That's where I started doing Shakespeare here in New York. But yeah, so the theater, I'm just directing, and it's my first time directing. I've been acting in the company for years. And I branched off and went to grad school and did my own thing and created some of my own one-woman Shakespeare plays because I want to play all the parts like Nick Bottom.
Right.
And because I love storytelling so much. And then he gave me this opportunity, and it's been a success. It's just been a dream come true. I didn't know I was gonna get to explore.
Well, that's a big jump, and especially for a first time directing, going from acting for been acting for a while with this company or around town, and to jump from that for your debut directorial experience to do King Lear of all things.
I know
that's no small feat.
We don't know what we were thinking. I knew I wanted to work with Josh. I knew I wanted him to. He's a great character actor, and I just wanted to have fun, and I was thinking, what part do I want to see him play? And for some reason, we were like, yeah, King Lear, this will be fun. I love all the characters, and it's such amazing weaving storytelling, and it's so juicy and rich. And then once we got deep in, I was like, why the heck am I directing a play that you're supposed to do at the end of your career?
Right.
Once you're really mature and you've really figured out who you are as a director and a person. But that's one reason why I decided to come at it like a medieval fairy tale. Just have a lot of fun, bright colors, really lean into the dramatic elements and invigorate every character and make them feel like it's been really, really fun. And since no one here has seen it, I wish you could see what I mean, but because it's really an exciting production. One reason why I decided to direct King Lear too was because I've often seen productions I didn't enjoy of the play. And I was like, why isn't this fun? Why is it lull so much at times? So I tried to figure out how that could not happen.
Well, I encourage our audience to come and check it out and see what you are doing with the show.
Yeah.
And you only have 3 more performances. When are the final 3?
Yeah, so it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night at 7:00 at the Trinity Church Theater, 422 West 57th Street, between 9th and 10th. It's right there.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. All right. So that is King Lear, and we have our first-time director, Claire, bringing her vision, her enjoyment, her excitement to her unique take on King Lear to the Stag and Lion Theater Company, who she's been with for a couple of years now. And I urge you all to go out there and check out their productions. Stag and Lion does a very kind of classical approach to Shakespeare in that theater up on the Upper West Side, and they do good, solid stuff. So definitely check that out. Okay, we are going to jump over to our friend Ian Gould from the Gallery Players, and they are doing the Comedy of Errors. Hello again, Ian.
Hello.
Ian, you and I have kind of like been parallel to each other for a while. I've kind of known of you, but I haven't really had a chance to chat with you directly.
Yeah, we've been in each other's orbits for a bit, but we haven't actually sat down.
For a bit, yeah. So I'm happy we're having a chance to chat.
Great.
So how long have you been involved with the Gallery Players? Yeah,
so Gallery Players has actually been around since 1967, which is a pretty impressive run for a theater in New York City. But I have just come back to direct this production of Comedy of Errors after my my first gigs, my first acting gigs out of undergraduate school were at Gallery Players. This would be in what the youth now are calling the late 20th century. And I did three productions at Gallery Players at the very beginning of my career, including a previous production of The Comedy of Errors in I believe 1999. So I was really pleased. I am not I am not on the staff or the board or anything of Comedy of Errors. I was jobbed in just to direct this production, and I was really excited to see they were doing it, and really excited to come back and direct it, because it's a real full circle moment for me at this point to come back and direct the play that was very close to the very first play I was in out of college.
Wow. Isn't that a full circle moment for you?
It's great. Yeah, it's really been wonderful.
That's great. But you've done directing before. Is this your first time as a director? Or?
This is my first full-length directing project since the pandemic, so it has been a while.
Okay.
I also directed a Friends one act a little earlier this year, but the last Shakespeare that I had directed was a production of The Winter's Tale in, I think, 2019, right, that we got in right before the pandemic hit. And so it's been really nice to come back. I am primarily an actor. I've been acting sort of all over the Shakespeare festivals and other places, kind of all over the country for the last 20 years or so. And I just started also branching out into directing primarily Shakespeare and classical stuff. And so I'm right at the beginning of that particular that phase of my career that I'm hoping will run sort of in parallel with acting projects. But it's been really wonderful to direct something back in a place I have a history with, and to bring people something that's really fun and funny, and a release after the few years that we have all had.
No, it's funny you say that, because in the past maybe year and a little bit less, a little bit more, but roughly about a year, I've seen more productions of The Comedy of Errors happening around New York than I have seen in the past maybe 20 years. Suddenly it's everyone, it's not that everyone, but a lot more people have an interest in putting that up than might have previously done it.
Yeah, we talk about how that tends to happen, that there seem to be bumper crops of productions all sprouting up of the same play at the same time. It just seems like there's sometimes just something in the ether that brings people very coincidentally into the same play at the same time. And I think a play like Comedy of Errors is really right for right now. It's very funny. It's very joyfully funny. But it's also got there's a real sense of there's a real undercurrent in the play about feeling lost and trying to find your family, and being in a situation and in a world that you don't understand, and trying to make sense of it. And there are all kinds. So there are, not only is it kind of a wonderful excuse for slapstick comedy and fun, but it's actually underneath that is a play that's plugged into, in a funny way, some of the anxieties that we've all been through, that we're sort of working through, and to be able to talk about some of that in a way that that is still, joyful and funny, and hopefully leaves everybody feeling really happy that they took this time to come out to the theater, is it's lovely. It really is.
That's a really fantastic way to describe it. And I think kind of a similar vibe is going on with our other participant tonight, Linnea Benson from the Frog and Peach Theater Company. I think you're not a first-time director. You've been directing for quite a while, but I think this particular production of As You Like It has been waiting since before COVID. I think it was what you were supposed to put on right before COVID happened, and then COVID put it on the back burner for about 2 years until now, right?
mid-March of 2020, we had our last rehearsal, and we all knew it was going to be our last rehearsal. And I got to hear the whole first act. And then we sat around and cried for about half an hour, and then we all went home for 2 years. When the opportunity, came around to return to the stage, I talked to the actors, and wonderful people like Amy Frances Quint, who plays Rosalind. She's a terrific comic actress. She looks like she's gorgeous, and she's got the comic sensibility of Will Ferrell. She's amazing. The same with Alyssa Diamond, terrific actress. Vivian Landau, who recently appeared in Shiva Baby, and you know her from commercials, and a wonderful actress who's playing Queen Senior. We didn't go with the Dukes, we went with Queen Senior. Kyle Primack, Jonathan Reed Wexler, and the reviews have been very nice, and we're hoping to get some more. It's a cast of 23.
And
cast. In discussing the choice of the title, we've all been in exile for a while, and As You Like It is a play about being out in the woods and on your own, and finding community there, and finding a way to express yourself through art and song and verbal exchanges, comedy. It's a wonderful reunion of our longtime audiences and our casts and people who love each other. So it's been great.
That's fantastic. Well, you guys are one of those companies. It's there are certain companies that kind of fly under the radar, but they do fantastic work, and I think you guys are one of them. That you might not get as much press as some of the other companies, but you guys are always consistently doing top flight work. Now, guys, we are going to take a pause in our discussion. We have to reset. We're going to take a break. We're going to come right back, and we will continue the discussion with these three wonderful guests. Don't leave. We'll hang on, and we will be right back with this group. All right, folks, we are back. We had a little bit of a technical snafu, or maybe it was a commercial break. Check your screen and see what's going on. But we're back. Now, you might notice something weird. Ian actually went to Linnea's house during the break, and now he's in front of her computer.
Don't tell my husband. Ian, you're in big trouble.
So the two of them might have switched places on your screen, but the conversation continues. So Linnea, you were telling us about As You Like It, and you guys are back. You have this wonderful 23-person cast that you had put together before the coronavirus shut things down. You guys are back. You're in previews right now. When did
we're not in previews right now. Our official opening was October 6th. Okay. We went through October 23rd at beautiful theater at 152 West 71st Street, just steps away from Lincoln Center. Frog and Peach is widely known. We don't fly under the radar on anybody's book, I don't think, for bringing high quality Shakespeare productions to atypical New York theater goers. Our audiences are one of the most diverse you'll find anywhere, and our mission is to just bring theater to people who may feel left out or priced out of the cultural conversation. So we're very pleased to bring a raucous As You Like It with lots of guitars and bongos and flutes and drums, and it's a ton of fun.
Okay. All right. Well, absolutely. And as long as I've known you guys have been.
I should say music by Ted Zerkowski too, of the famous Honey West. So.
And he's the one who's going to kick Ian out if Ian tries to come over.
You better watch your back, man. I'm telling you, romantic comedy is hard.
Well, we kind of touched on this a couple of minutes ago before our break, where we have, the Comedy of Errors, we have As You Like It, we have two very, light, silly comedies, but, which underneath the surface speak to bigger issues. But that seems to be kind of like what the two poles are of what's happening, at least what I'm seeing from my perspective, of what's happening in the world of Shakespeare right now in New York, is that we're seeing a lot of the comedies being played out right now, the Comedy of Errors, As You Like It. We have someone else doing Twelfth Night. We have a variety of shows happening around town right now, but you also have some of the big tragedies like King Lear. And as much as we have that escapism or that need for that light comedy of that relief from As You Like It or Comedy of Errors, there's also that some people want that depiction of some of the crazy things that are happening in the political landscape right now. If you look around the world, that you don't have to look too far to see, the what happens when a monarchy or an autocracy is on the verge of splintering apart. So
As You
Claire,
Like It has a coup.
there you go.
Oh yeah, no, every Shakespeare play there's definitely a political, some sort of escape from the ways of man law. Anyway, go ahead, please.
But yeah, absolutely. So it's really, there's not the conventional wisdom with Shakespeare is that that the comedies are comedies and the tragedies are tragedies because the one ends in laughter and multiple marriages, and the other ends with everybody dead in a heap of blood on the stage. But
Yes.
aside from that, there isn't a great deal of division between the comedies and the tragedies. Would you guys agree with that? Would you say that there's like that borderline, that there's a gray area that sometimes a tragedy can easily slip into comedy territory, and often depending on how it's directed or how it's played out?
There's a lot of comedy in Hamlet. There's a lot of comedy in Lear. There's a lot of comedy in King John. There's a lot of tragedy in As You Like It, of splitting of families, being away from the person you loved. I think I can speak for many artists that being split away from being able to perform was like losing a loved one, or we weren't ourselves for 2 years.
Right.
And there were some funny moments, but it's been rough on all of us. And to be together again, whether it's a comedy or tragedy, I think is a reason to celebrate. Certainly, to be with Shakespeare and our audiences and with each other. I think that's a
Absolutely.
reason to celebrate.
Absolutely. And so, go ahead, Claire. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I tried. It was important to me. I mean, I think King Lear has a very hopeful ending. So I found the love and the hope and the joy of a potentially a good king taking the throne. Edgar, I've given him, sometimes Albany has the last line in King Lear of speak what you feel, not what you ought to say. But I gave it to Edgar, and he's taking the throne, and he goes on a journey where he is stripped down to the basest and lowest thing in life, and fights for what he believes in, and is handed the crown in a way that we would hope a good, the right heir, or the rightful good, that's why I kind of also made it a fairy tale, like the good king comes and takes the throne, and because it is in there, and that's my hope, that politically that we can believe in. Yes, maybe the oldest hath born most, we that are young shall ne'er live so see so much nor live so long. It's like the generations beforehand have lived out some trauma, some pain that we now don't have to live because they did it for us, and now we can see a brighter future. So I tried to lean into what was, like I said, hopeful, and I definitely found the comedy, and there's definitely comedy in King Lear.
Right.
The play is too, you have to, and Shakespeare is so, if you can't find the comedy in it, then you shouldn't be doing it, because it's everywhere. It's in every character. They all have such amazing sense of humor, from the smallest parts and the most tragic moments.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little ounce of, oh, I guess I'm dying. And it's not like ha 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 laughing. It's like, oh, it's emotional. And I wanted people to blur those lines of that emotion. And I have people coming to me when laughing and crying and having fun. It's actually been a really surprisingly uplifting experience to work on such a tragic play. Anyway.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. What about you, Ian? What kind of reactions has your audience been giving you? You guys just started a couple of days ago. What kind of reactions have you been seeing from the audience over in Brooklyn?
We just started, so we've only got 2 shows under our belt so far. So, but we've been, yeah, we, mostly I've noticed that audiences are really coming to the theater looking for a good time. I think that I think when your play has the word comedy in the title, people come in with a certain number of expectations. It's one of the things that I find really fascinating about the play is that it sets up for a comedy right there in the title, and it opens with a scene that is actually not really funny at all. Takes place in the world of that play is actually pretty authoritarian and pretty corrupt, and and the whole opening scene is about the guy who's sentenced to death, who's going to be executed at the end of the play if something doesn't happen. And so it's been really fun to sort of bring everybody together for a comedy and then wrong foot them for about 4 minutes. And right before it doesn't get zany at first, and I'm sure some audiences are checking their programs wondering what show they wandered into, but I really sort of enjoyed the opportunity to do that, and I didn't feel the need to make it jokey, because I think that it's not jokey. It's actually very, very serious, and I think having the being able to have that that kind of undertone, those kinds of bass notes in the play, make the funny stuff even funnier, and also make the ending really moving. I mean, the ending is genuinely really moving. And part of that is because there has been so much sadness in these people's lives prior to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. That it's, if the whole play right from when you start, no matter what play it is, whether it's the comedy of errors, As You Like It, or whatever, or even if it's moments of humor in some of the tragedies or some of the romances, whatever the case is, if you go, right off the bat, if you jump into slapstick, and there's no reason for you to have a connection with the characters that you're seeing on stage, on screen, or whatever, if you don't have any reason to care for them, or want them to get out of whatever dangerous predicament they're in, then the humor, it doesn't really have quite as much resonance. So you have to have that initial, at least a scene or two, to build an understanding of who the characters are, why you should connect with them. And then you have this comedic thing happens, and you have this clownish character all of a sudden comes in, with the two brothers, and everything else, and all this. Now just kind of to stop myself, do you have 2 brothers, or do you have 2 sisters as Dromio of Ephesus? Do you have the twin sisters or twin brothers?
So the Antipholus twins, there are 2 sets of twins in the play, because if 1 set of identical twins is funny, 2 even better.
Right.
We talked about like actually gender flipping the characters, which we decided not to do, because it wasn't that interesting to us, and it also sets up it's very hard to do in this play, where the gender dynamics of the play are so specific and so clear. If you swap, if you want to do it honestly, then you have to, you really have to rewrite large chunks of the play. Having said that, I think anybody can, and anybody with a connection to it can potentially play any part in Shakespeare. So both of our Antipholus twins are played by men. Both of our Dromio twins are played by women. That was not a conscious decision on my part. That was me. I read both men and women for all of the parts in this play, and I wound up with some. I wound up with collection of male and female and non-binary actors playing all over the place. And that's just because I'm not, you know, I'm not that interested in maintaining, you know, sort of in maintaining sort of traditional expectations of who those characters can be and be played by. So I just kind of like audition people and let them tell me kind of what they were good at and what they were interested in, and the chips kind of fell out how they fell.
Okay. All right. All right, Linnea, what kind of responses have you guys been getting from the audience? You guys, I'm sure there's beyond the response to the show itself, there must be like this groundswell of emotion that like we're so happy to see you guys back in a theater, and especially you guys, we've been waiting for this show for 2 years. It must be a huge swell of emotion to reconnect with your audience.
I must have cried like 4 times just this past Friday night. And I know the play, and I'm, you know, you direct something long enough, you can sort of roll your eyes sometimes, but it's deeply moving. I take no credit for that. It's the actors and the music, and these are folks I've worked with for some of them for a very long time. People are crying, people are laughing, people are hugging. People are patting my cheek. It's been very, very gratifying. We're just tickled, and it's a very, in addition to having such a big cast, it's also a very diverse cast. We have, you know, gender flipped the roles of the dukes and made them queens.
You mentioned Queen, right?
There's a slew of forest people, the court in exile, and there's a slew of, you know, country folk who try to connect with them. If you want to talk about comedy, for my money, the nature of comedy is watching someone else experience frustration, and the kind of divides we have in the country right now, even the divides we have in the city, of wanting to communicate and wanting to share something. I mean, you love your dog, right? It's manifest in As You Like It, and they find a way to put their differences aside and dance like crazy at the end of the play. And it's just a very joyful, moving experience. But how could it not be with these terrific, terrific actors?
Absolutely. So here's a question for you guys. In the past year and a half to 2 years since the coronavirus, you know, broke out and, you know, the theaters shut down, there have been a variety of protocols that have been put in place of how people get back into live performance. That, for the most part, has lessened in the past 6 months to 9 months or so. But in some cases, there's still a lot of requirements in place. What kind of requirements are you guys dealing with in your productions? Do you have to have your cast has to be vaccinated? Do you require masks in the audience? No masks in the audience? Proof of vaccination in the audience?
We've had, in addition to As You Like It, we've had, we did a new play at the Players Club with Estelle Parsons and Austin Pendleton. Our first reading of that wonderful new play called Verbatim took place just as Omicron was rising. And for those that had, you must be vaccinated, you must wear a mask. We've done outdoor theater. Our children's program, our family program, Tinkerbell Theater, has had a couple of like really packed performances outdoors. But for As You Like It, we followed equity protocols. I've got a great guy who's a COVID cop at some of the top Broadway houses, and he advised me, and it jibed with the protocols for equity too. And we've done all these performances, you know, all through since December 21 without a single transmission. So I'm really
That's
proud of that.
fantastic. That's
You do
fantastic.
have to have everybody vaccinated in the cast, of course.
Right, of course. Claire, how about you guys?
Yeah, everybody's vaccinated. We have masks at the door and hand sanitizer, but it's really, we don't require the audience to do anything. I think we've hit in New York City that's not a mandate. So we really don't, we have a small theater. We are a budding company, and we're just trying to get the word out, and it hasn't been an issue. We haven't had no COVID. There's been no issue with that, and nobody coming saying I'm not coming in unless everyone's been vaccinated or unless everybody's in a mask. But people do wear masks in the audience, but we on stage but that isn't, we weren't like, you have to.
It's not a mandate anymore.
No, we're not mandating it, but everybody in the cast is vaccinated, and if anybody feels a sniffle, they put on a mask and rehearse that way. But nobody's been, or when we were doing Henry IV Part 1 and 2, there was some COVID scares. Now that was a couple months ago, right? Right after Omicron or whatever. So my point is, like, we're all really careful during those times, and it's just a different time now, and we're meeting that moment. And I'm just really hoping we can keep this it going this direction.
Absolutely.
What's impressed me is how diligent all the actors are about masking up on the train, masking up on the street,
Right.
masking up at all times. They do not want anything to happen to interfere with this production, and I'm grateful to each and every one of them.
That's a big commitment. Now, the two of you ladies, you're both on the Upper West Side. Ian, you guys are over in Brooklyn.
Yep.
What's happening for you guys out there in Kings County? You guys, any difference in what you guys are doing, or is it similar to what Linnea is saying with equity protocols?
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what the theater's been doing. I mean, unlike Linnea and Claire, I am not I am not involved in the administrative or any of those or artistic decisions of the theater. But I can tell you that the theater also has, the actors have to, had to show their vax cards and all that kind of stuff, et cetera, et cetera. And they actually do, they do ask that audiences stay masked during the performance, even though it is not a mandate.
Right.
It's still the theater's policy.
And that's for me. I mean, for the various shows that I see around town, it's really like a grab bag, I think at this point it's like 2 will not ask, but will suggest it, and 1 will require it.
I think officially now on Broadway, it's a recommendation, but not a requirement.
Right.
I think that's true all over. But at Gallery, no, they've kept in place the mandate that you have to be masked to be in the audience. And I mean, audiences have been, I haven't heard anybody object to it. Audiences are very good about it.
Right.
It's still, because it's a 99 seat theater, and so it doesn't, it's pretty early in the house opening that there are people in fairly close proximity to you on all sides. And so just like being on the subway, it is just smart to wear a mask in the theater. And and it's, I have not heard a single objection to it, but they do have they kept their own company mandate in place, even though the city doesn't have one right now.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, listen, I think you guys all have great things to offer with your productions in the respective areas where you are. So why don't we give plugs and let the audience know where they can come and catch your shows and how many shows are remaining. Claire, you guys are ending first. What's the timeline and where can we find tickets? So
it's this Thursday, the 12th, 13th, 14th and 15th.
Right.
And you can get tickets at our website. It's www.stagandliontheater.com. We're also on social media. So Stag and Lion Theater, and you can buy them at the door. So we haven't, we can add chairs. We haven't turned anybody away. We are having full houses. So do get in that line and join our little. I wanted to say that the theater, it is small. We built it. I built this. I helped build. I built the set. We are bare bones. It's a traveling caravan of players in a little Stratford upon Avon style theater. So it's quite the experience, and it's pretty magical. So that's my last little plug. I hope people see it.
Stagandliontheater.com. Okay, and that's running through this Saturday, and that's the 15th, right? That's the 15th.
That closes on the 15th.
Okay, all right. That's King Lear from the Stag and Lion Theater with Claire Tyers directing. Linnea, you guys are next. I think you have 9 performances left, right?
That's correct. We run this Thursday, the 13th, through Sunday, October 23rd. Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 7:30, Sundays at 3 o'clock. We have an additional special performance Wednesday, October 19th at 7:30. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. Ticket prices run from $20 to $40, and it's part of our mission to keep Shakespeare affordable for normal working people. And you can check out Eventbrite for ticket codes to get discounts. And you can't find better Shakespeare for 5 times the price. And that's my personal guarantee. At the beautiful Theater 71, 152 West 71st Street. If you need more information about ADA entrances, etc., that's all on Eventbrite too. We would love to see you there.
Okay, and we'll put the links to your group on social media so they can check you out. And that's the Frog and Peach Theater Company.
Frog and Peach Theater Company. 9 more performances, folks. Don't miss this splendid production.
Okay, and Ian, you guys are the Gallery Players. You're in Brooklyn. Where can people find you guys and get tickets?
So Gallery Players is in Park Slope in Brooklyn. It's at 199 14th Street, which is the corner of 14th Street and 4th Avenue. You can see us. We've got 10 shows left. Thursday through Saturday at 8, Sundays at 2, Saturdays additionally at 2, and then Sundays at 3. So there's 2 shows on Saturdays. So we run through Sunday the 23rd. You can find tickets on galleryplayers.com. And everybody come see it. It's great fun. We are just having a blast. It's 90 minutes. Everybody accused me of cutting too much out of the play. I cut about like 70 lines out of the play. The play is just really short. It's shorter than
and
the first
fast, I'm sure.
Shorter than the first 3 acts of Hamlet. Sucker comes in at a tight 90 minutes. No intermission.
That's awesome.
We're having a blast. It's fast and furious and fun, and people are loving it. So
some writer, I can't think of his name, said brevity is the soul of wit.
Yes,
so
I
think that's the case here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, again, New York Shakespeare audience, the 3 wonderful guests that we had here tonight, I urge you guys to go out and support their shows. Claire Tyers, again, from the Stag Line Theater Company. They have King Lear, and that runs through this Saturday, October 15th. Linnea Benson and the Frog and Peach Theater Company, they have As You Like It, and that goes through October 23rd. Ian Gould and the Gallery Players over in Park Slope in Brooklyn, they have The Comedy of Errors, and that also runs through the 23rd. So check it out. I'll be posting the links on the New York Shakespeare social media. You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and beyond. Support your local Shakespeare. Go out and see these shows, and when you go there, tell them the New York Shakespeare sent you, and they'll give you a little special. Well, they might punch you in the face, but they'll give you a little extra hug and say thank you to New York Shakespeare. But again, we'll try to keep as much Shakespeare content coming to you as we can. Support your local Shakespeare. Get out there, see these shows, and see as much as you can that's happening in the New York Shakespeare scene. My name is Rodney Hakeem from the New York Shakespeare social media feeds, and we wish you all a good night.
Love your evening. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.